Welcome to the kitchen. I'm Chef Victoria Love, and today we're going to make pickled watermelon rinds. My father was an officer in the Air Force, and he was stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi for many years. So when I was growing up, we always had lots of southern delicacies, and one of them was pickled watermelon rinds. Now, I haven't had these in years, so I'm so excited to be making them today. Before I create a recipe, though, I do a lot of research, and I look at lots of different cookbooks and get ideas and see what everybody is doing and then tweak it the way I want it. One of my favorite southern chefs is Edna Lewis. She wrote a cookbook in 1976 called The Taste of Country Cooking, and her recipe, she uses cinnamon, ginger, and mace. And this year, my friends Mark Scarborough and Bruce Weinstein have their new cookbook called Cold Canning, and their watermelon rind recipe, they just use ginger. So for today, though, I'm going to be using candied ginger. This is from Trader Joe's, and it's not the crystallized kind with the sugar on the top. It's just candied ginger. However, if you can't find this, crystallized candied ginger is perfectly fine. And then I'm going to use some allspice, some cloves, and some mustard seeds. These are the seasonings that I prefer when I'm making my pickling. Another thing also, I'm just using white vinegar. A lot of people use apple cider vinegar when they're making watermelon rinds, and I personally don't like the taste of apple cider vinegar when I'm pickling. I like the flavor of everything else that I'm putting in to stand out. So I'm just going to use plain white vinegar and sugar and some salt. So what we need to do is we need to prep the watermelon rinds. Now, when I got home last night, my husband had cut the watermelon. I'm like, save the rinds. And he thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, I got to take it to school tomorrow and show the kids how to do this. So what I'll be doing with my students later is that we're going to peel off the green. We're going to peel off the green, get rid of any of the pink flesh, and then we're going to chop these up. And then we can start making our pickles. So let me get these prepped, and I'll come back and show you how to do it. In order to prepare the watermelon rind, I'm going to peel it. Now, if I had known I was making this ahead of time, it probably would be much easier to peel this when the watermelon is whole. So just be careful when you're peeling. You don't want to cut your finger. But we just got to peel all of the rind off of this. And some people will use a knife to cut it off. I think it's just easier to use the peeler because then you're not wasting so much. And this is really the most important thing. This is something that would be considered a sustainable recipe. It uses something that normally would be discarded, and instead we're turning it into something absolutely delicious. And we need to do more of that in our society because we have become too much of a throwaway society, and a lot of this stuff goes into landfills and it's wasted, and we don't need to do that. We should be recycling and sustaining our planet. So that's my little lecture for the moment. We also want to remove all of the pink. So just slice down and get rid of it. We want to get all of the pink and all of the green off and just get the white underneath. And then when we do, we want to cut it. Now, you could cut this any way you'd like. You could do rectangles, squares, thin strips, whichever way you want to do it. Now, if you're using maybe this as a garnish, nice thin strips would be interesting. However, I think we're just going to use this to have in class. So we're just going to cut pieces around the same size. You do want to have them around the same size though, so that way the pickling process works equally. You don't want to have a giant piece that isn't completely pickled properly and super crunchy and hard, and then a tiny little piece that's really mushy. So make sure that whatever size that you do choose to use, that you're getting them about the same size, same thickness, and that will help in your end product. So I think that's a good size. That's something that my students can pick up and eat. We finished preparing the watermelon rinds, and then I let it sit overnight in the refrigerator. And now this is the next step. This is a several day process. We're going to toss, this is 4 pounds of watermelon rinds, and we're going to toss it with 2 tablespoons of salt. So I'm just going to take the 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, sprinkle it all over, and then we just toss this up to get the salt all over. I'm doing this one-handed. And once that's all tossed and the salt is coating everything, we're going to pour the watermelon into a colander because we're going to let this sit overnight in the refrigerator. So I'm gonna put this whole thing back in the bowl because that'll catch the liquid that comes off. We want to let these sit in the refrigerator overnight, and the salt will draw out the extra juices that are in the rind. Here are our pickled watermelon rinds. They were in the refrigerator overnight with the salt on it. So let's see how much of the juices came out. Oh, there's quite a bit. Look at that. All right, so now what I need to do is I'm gonna wash this under cold water, and then we're gonna bring it to a boil and cook them for about 10 minutes. We wanna soften them up so they'll pickle really well. Since they're in the colander already, I just put them under here, and we're gonna rinse them with some cold water. We wanna make sure you get all of that salt off, so let it rinse for quite a while. So now I have our pot, and we've got it halfway full of water. We're gonna add in our watermelon rinds, and we're gonna bring it to a boil and boil it for 10 minutes. This has been rapidly boiling for 10 minutes, so now we're gonna take this off the heat, turn it off, and drain it back through our colander and let it cool. I just drained them. There's still some steam coming off. We're gonna let it cool a little bit. While that's cooling, we're now going to take care of making our syrup. So this is 2 cups of water. And to that, we're gonna add our 2 cups of white vinegar. Once the syrup comes to a rapid boil, we're going to add in our watermelon rinds, and we want to cook it for 10 minutes. Just stir every so often. You don't want to break up the rinds. And then what we're going to do is we'll turn it off and let it sit overnight. I just got into the kitchen. We let this sit overnight, and there we go. That's what it looks like. Now what we're going to do is bring it back to a boil, and then we can put it in some jars. That's been boiling for 10 minutes and it smells amazing. So now we can bottle it, and I'm gonna sterilize my jars. To sterilize our jars, we need rapidly boiling water, and we're gonna submerge our jars in it. Make sure you use some tongs, you don't wanna burn yourself. There we go. And we wanna sterilize the jars to make sure there's no pathogens on it. And the rings and the tops, so get those in the water too. Once you get your jars in there, they've got to boil for 10 minutes. My jars are all sterilized. I have 2 more still boiling away in the pot. And now I'm going to ladle in our very hot, it's still hot, you can see it steaming, pickles. There we go. And you need to leave some headroom at the top so you see it's not filled all the way. There's about a ½ inch. All right, and then we're gonna put our lid on and screw this into place. Here we go, I got these 4 beautiful jars filled. Look at the cloves and the allspice berries in there. That looks, oh, that's a hunk of ginger. That was the crystallized ginger. And I cannot wait to taste these. So we're gonna let these sit until they cool to room temperature, and then I'll put them in the refrigerator. Okay, these have been in the refrigerator for 2 days. I can't wait to open it. That is that hunk of candied ginger, which is now puffed up. And look at the pickles. Some of it have the nice pink tinge on it. I can't wait to open this. I'm so excited. Okay, there we go. Look at this. This looks absolutely wonderful. This is so exciting. I haven't had pickled watermelon in years. I don't even know if they sell it anymore, but this certainly is going to be exciting to taste. Oh, wow, that is absolutely wonderful. There is a sweetness and this clove taste. This would be wonderful as an accompaniment to pork chops or some chicken. This would be a great addition to a savory meal. This is absolutely wonderful. Oh, I can't wait for you to try it. Please make it at home and save your watermelon scraps. Use up our resources to be a more sustainable society. Thank you so much for watching. Please try it at home and let me know in the comments if you like it. Come back for more. I make about 1 video a week, and I have over 485 videos on my YouTube channel, so check them out.